Greetings. How do you do? My name's Philip. I'm here today to talk about the waning half of this Leo lunar cycle. Thank you for your presence. I appreciate you. You are appreciated beyond me. You are appreciated by creation. Thank you for creating yourself. Thank you for recreating yourself. Did you know that this life is a recreational experience? It's both a play and a drama. And within a Leo lunar cycle, well, of course, we are learning about our greatest ability to play the game of life. We are learning about our ability to recognize the drama and our strife and to let it go, to alleviate ourselves. Because a lot of us, well, we are waiting around for this or for that because we're carrying a lot of baggage with us. We're carrying a lot of old, outdated heaviness along our course, along the path with us. But we don't have to carry it with us. We're able to alleviate ourselves, which is what we do with a waning half of a lunar cycle, because we recognize with the full moon what we're able to let go of. And it is in that letting go, in that purging, that the massive WEIGHT, the heavy weight, stops us, WAITING, waiting around for tomorrow. Because today, right here, now, you are the gift. You are present. So thank you for receiving you. Thank you for knowing that you are able to live through your creative vocational aptitudes. Did you know that our skills and our talents transform into, in Latin, talent means fortune? And this full moon, which we are just moving off the back of, which actually took place only about 6 hours ago at 29 degrees of Aquarius, this full moon, which is now waning at about 4, moving to the 5th degree of Pisces, was actually conjunct Jupiter. Jupiter retrograde, 26 degrees of Aquarius, moving backwards until October, where it will station at 22 degrees of Aquarius. Oh my goodness, only to make its second ingress into Pisces by December the 28th. But at this time, just a few hours ago, it was the full moon opposite the sun at 29 degrees of Leo. In a conjunction with Jupiter was the moon. This gives us the opportunity to recognize all of our outdated belief systems. It is that belief systems can carry us so far. Experiences give us the opportunity to believe in certain things, whether it's a nationality, whether it's a health system. It could be that you're believing in a certain dietary habit, a certain family or a class system. Whatever it is, we have had our belief systems shaken up. And so, a bit like a Polaroid picture. Was it Taylor Swift? She said, shake it. Just shake it, huh? Shake it off. Shake it off. Shake it. Just shake it, huh? Shake it off. I mean, don't quote me on that. But the point of us getting clear on the resolution of our consciousness, the opportunity for us to let go and alleviate ourselves from these heavy belief systems means that we gain clarity, which is our nature. We're able to find what of which and how these old belief systems, which are held in our body, the emotions, the energy which is stagnant within the embodiment of who we are, is calling us to recognize that we don't have to hold on to these things anymore. We don't have to clutch onto these things. We don't have to carry these things. We don't have to drag them with us into tomorrow. The old dragon is slayed by us feeling, which is what the opportunity of this full moon gives us. Not only does this full moon give us the opportunity to feel, but it also gives us the expansive recollection of our own intelligence, our own genius. Aquarius is outside of the box. It's beyond this time. It's beyond this space, but yet we're here, centered within this place. And yet we're bringing all these ideas from outside the box, from beyond time. If you think about Capricorn, it's ruled by Saturn, which is the farthest of the planets which we can see with our naked eye. And yet Saturn also rules Aquarius, which is beyond the boundary of time. It's a bit like when you do things that leave a timeless legacy, like you are an author and you create a book, you write a book, you become an author. That book stays on the shelf after you may be passed on to the next phase of your personal evolution as a spirit, as a soul. You leave your mark, you etch your groove into reality. And this is what we are doing at this time now as a species, because we just had the great conjunction in Aquarius. We just had a full moon in Aquarius a month ago, and today was the second of the full moons in Aquarius. We had 2 in a row. One of them was at 1 degree, and then we had Uranus go retrograde about 4 days ago, and then we had a second full moon in Aquarius. What this means for us is that we get the opportunity to recognize our expectations, our projections, and see how we can alleviate ourselves from them. Because it's sometimes our need to see, our need to perceive, our need to know the unexpected, our need to fathom the future. But yet actually we're going boldly, so boldly, into directions that we have never traversed before. And so when we can let go of the heavy old belief systems, Jupiter retrograde, conjunct the full moon confirmed, and find that this gives us the opportunity to recognize that, Jupiter rules Pisces, which is where the moon is now and shall be for the next 2 days. And yet Jupiter also rules Sagittarius, where the south node is. And so we're letting go of the old belief systems with regards to our nationalities, about education systems, maybe it's the health systems, you know those guys, and even how we believe about corporations, how we believe about the state of affairs of this world right now. And there's so much for us to let go of. I mean, we've lost a lot of faith. We've lost a lot of trust, but yet where can you put that trust if not outside? But back into you, because you are the bank. You are the source. You can bank on yourself. You can reassure yourself. You can come into tight relationships with your heart's vision, with your creativity, with your vocational aptitudes. Of course, this is our greatest opportunity to see with astrology how we are able to make the most of the energies that are available to us in application to our own natal charts. And so what I'm going to be doing in this video is not just flapping my gums talking about the energies, but we're actually going to go through each of the aspects, each of the transits that are going through the sky from now until the new moon in Virgo, which is actually in a very interesting, perfect harmonic trine with Uranus retrograde back in Taurus. So it's going to be a right old shake-up. The picture of our conscious awareness is going to be developed very, very much over the course of the closeout of this summer months. If we've just had a full moon in the fixed signs, we're only really halfway through the summer, although the sun has already made ingress into the last of the summer signs, and that is mutable Virgo. We are in the times of change, but we're still within a fixed Leo lunar cycle for another 2 weeks. And so without further ado, I'll be sharing my screen and we're going to be looking at all of the aspects over the course of the next couple of weeks. I wrote them all down, but we're going to share them so you can see them for yourself. You might already be able to apply them to your own natal chart if you know it. However, I'm able to do that for you if you're not familiar. You can get hold of me and arrange a mutually beneficial time to connect. Could be in the next couple of days or towards the weekend or even into next week. We'll find the time and we can actually share your own personal natal chart on the screen like I'm about to do with the current sky. All the information for you to be able to get into contact with me, whether it's for an hour or for a 2 hour, we can do your progress chart. But first we will start with the natal chart, which has got all your greatest moments and all of those most challenging ones as well. And we'll walk through, I'll hold space. We'll go into each of the planetary positions and the aspects in each of the houses, and we'll go through maybe recognizing some of the experiences that you've already grown through and lived through, and hold space as we get to know each other, as we get to feel into your chart. And then we'll find out actually how you're able to recognize yourself from a step back, from a step within, from a loving perspective. One could suggest it's like your higher self, because that's what astrology offers us. It gives us a greater language and depth of our own perspective on who we are. And we're sound vibrational frequency beings having a kind of physical experience. So we're kind of looking at using our influence, which is our sphere of influence, our inspiration, and we're looking at squaring it up. This Leo lunar cycle is about saying, hey, I can live off my creativity. I can live off my joy. You and I are able to work for ourselves, be our own boss. We don't have to go and work for someone else 9 till 5. I mean, that's no way to make a living. So if you want me to empower you to find and to give you the clarification which you were seeking, and also the empowerment for you knowing how to make the most of all of the energies that are available to you, just reach out and we'll arrange a mutually beneficial time. All the links are below. I actually got some feedback from a happy client I'm just going to read to you before we get into the broadcast, and that is saying that Philip's empathy and knowledge, astrological training and great care guided my navigation through my secondary progress chart, and he added a great layer of understanding to my experiences and my journey towards growth, awareness and wisdom. With this progress chart analysis, I was able to see patterns of my development, powerfully embrace my sense of identity, as well as comprehend what makes me feel the way I feel sometimes. It was cathartic, it was very rewarding, an adventure, and highly recommended. Well, I'm very grateful for such feedback. Thank you so much. If you want to invest in your own chart reading, whether it's your progress chart, your natal chart, a relationship chart, an election chart for your business or projects, or moving house, whatever it is, it could be that it's a family chart. I've got Cancer midheaven, so I'm very good at acquainting those maternal figures, whether you're a mother or a father, in your dynamic with each other and your children. Because if we know our children's moon sign, we know that they need a certain type of attention, a certain type of communication, a certain type of nurturing. And so these types of things I'm able to help you with. Just send us your connection. All the information is in the description box below. Right, I'm going to get this chart up on the screen. I see you in the live chat there. Chili Mama and Staza Amp, Lisa, Astral Princess, Cringy Cruise. Some cool names that you guys have got there. Love Star and Secret Balance. You're a brilliant bunch of beings in the live chat. A.O. Wonderful Heights, Wandering Heights, Jackie, Lisa Lewis. You're all appreciated. Do you know what? If you're watching this in the background, you are equally appreciated if it's in a recording that you're viewing this. Do you know what? I'm grateful for you. Thank you for being who you are. No one else is going to go do it for you. So thank you for showing up. So here we go. Let me just pull this chart up on the screen, intending that you're finding yourself within gracious moments. You are deeply and dearly appreciated, whoever you are, wherever you are. Right, here we go. This is the current sky. I can see it right here. And it was actually just probably about 20 minutes, maybe about half an hour ago, that we saw the sun make ingress into Virgo. But if we reverse time, let's just take it back so we can look at this full moon that took place just a few hours prior to that. We see now that, yes, the sun at 0 degrees of Virgo, opposite the moon still. The moon, 5 degrees of Pisces. But this was a full moon in Aquarius, wasn't it? So let us just go back. We'll see that an hour ago, yes, the sun was back at the 29th degree of Leo in a conjunction with the fixed star Regulus, which is a royal fixed star. There's only 4 royal fixed stars in the night sky. This is one of the 16 biennial fixed stars that we have, which grant particular kind of energies. And so it's like pride before a fall. Sometimes we can overlook some of the graces when you've got this culminative anaretic Leo degree at 29 degrees. It can be a bit foolhardy, if you will. But if we even go back a few more hours, which was probably around the time that I got up this morning and did yoga, the moon was still back in Aquarius. Here we go. It was here. Actually, by the time I got to yoga, the moon had made ingress into Pisces and it was waning. But it's still full all day. And so here we go. We see that that moon was at 29 degrees, 180 degrees opposite the sun, and it was still within a 4-degree conjunction with Jupiter. And so this is, as I said, it's about a massive letting go of emotional matriarchal belief systems that are passed on through our family line, through our genetics, through our nationalities, through the propaganda of the recent times, and even from before we were born into our vessels. we hold on to a lot of these things, particularly if we look at this all-year aspect that we've got going on with Saturn and Uranus. I mean, I'm born in 1986. I know some of you may be a little older. Maybe some of you are a little bit more youthful than that. But the conjunction of Saturn and Uranus was 33 years ago in Sagittarius. And that was, it's about how we put beliefs into conglomerate structures like governments, like the monetary system, like capitalism, like nationalities, like classes, all of these different divisive thoughts. And now we're seeing them all break apart. The whole paradigm is being shattered from that conjunction of Saturn and Uranus, which took place, let's just show you, that took place in 1988. Let's just go back here. And so we've got to go back quite rapidly. You know, it's 33 years, goodness gracious. So, but that conjunction is like what we're looking to break free from. And it was set into the scene with the conjunction that we were going to have to break free from those things. Here they are, Saturn and Jupiter together at was 27, 28 degrees of Sagittarius when they had their conjunction. And so since then, they have moved 270 degrees, coming together and coming apart in squares, opening and oppositions over the course of the past 33 years, which means we've got 11 more years until we get to the next Saturn-Jupiter conjunction. Excuse me, it was a Saturn-Uranus conjunction. That's going to take place in the year 2033, opposite where it last took place in Sagittarius, right at the end of Gemini. And so that is very intriguing, right? Let's just bring it back to where we are. This is where we are on the full moon today. So we're dealing with this dynamic this year to break free of the old belief systems. And Jupiter is given a lending hand because Jupiter met with Saturn. We had the great conjunction about, 9 months ago at 0 degrees of Aquarius. And since then, Jupiter's been do-si-doing, flew through Aquarius, went into Pisces, as I mentioned. And now what we're recognizing is that Jupiter's retrogressed back into Aquarius so that we can let go of a lot of the karma which hasn't really been properly addressed yet with regards to all the new normal, not so normal rules, regulations, and also let go of a lot of our belief systems, projections and expectations in our personal experience, not just the world scene, in our personal experiences, with our personal relationships with each other, with the dynamics within our families, whether they're our parents, our children, that we're projecting onto. When the shoe fits or the tail fits, we will project these tails onto each other as they are also projected onto us. And so the greatest thing to do is to recognize our opportunity to respond to the changes. And it is actually probably by the snarl-ups, the tripping overs, the hardships, the pain which we feel, the emotional pain which we recognize. And in the feeling of it, we alleviate ourselves from these old bound up kind of contorting frames of reference, these old belief systems that are snarling us up, keeping us contorted or contracted into these systematic things that aren't allowing us to expand into our own sovereignty and general abundance. Because if we're going outside, that's following some other leader. And if you use that word lead, L-E-A-D, what do you put on a lead? But a dog. Are you a dog? Or are we able to lead ourselves like God? Because you are the source. You and I, we are able to be independent traders. You are the bank. You don't need to go into other things to gain reassurance like a governmental system. We, as human beings, are sovereign creator beings. And so we are coming into our own empowerment and recognizing ourselves instead of having to go to a mummy government, a daddy government, a lover which we project our needs and necessary components to be fulfilled onto. This isn't what we need. We don't need our celebrities. We don't need these corporations. What we need is simplicity, breath, yoga. Maybe we need art, creativity, exercise, the opportunity to grow food and to seed joy and gratitude throughout our moments. I'm grateful for you. And this is what we're recognizing now. And to do this, we've had this Jupiter retrograde with this full moon conjunctive, but this full moon come into its maximus at 29 degrees. As I mentioned, the last full moon was at 1 degree of Aquarius. So Before I start going through each of these transits and aspects, what's very interesting between the two difference of these full moons are, apart from the aspects, the experience of it is that the moon was full at the beginning of Aquarius and had to go through Aquarius for 2 whole days, the last one. So it was a bit like, oh, we're carrying this heaviness with us. We were able to recognize this heaviness so much more. However, it was just an hour or two, less than 2 hours after this full moon, that the moon changed sign to Pisces. And so it's completely different dynamic to the waxing of the moon, which was happening the past 2 days since it made ingress into Aquarius. Now it's waning and it's already in an alleviated, different energy. It's already in Pisces, and so we can be dreaming, we can be feeling into the collective subconscious, we can be perceiving whether we're in illusions or we're in clarity. It's a completely different dynamic. Not only that, but the sun has changed sign as well. And so this is a very, not only that, but we also had Uranus go retrograde. And so it's a real big shake-up. We're recognizing so much more of the flashes of inspiration, which is leading us to clarity, or are we being led by some other illusion, by a distorted confusion? And the only way to really check into what's appropriate for you is to what feels okay, because your vibration, your frequency doesn't lie. It stands for itself. You can feel it. It's bolt upright. What's laying down is when we are basing our opinions off the thoughts and off illusions, off words. But when we can come into feelings, we gain a greater recognition of what is truly for us. And this is really metaphysics. This is all sound and vibration. This is really waves and frequencies. Because when you're coming to the waves and frequencies, you're basing your information on a feeling, a sensitivity, rather than something which is surface level. Surface level isn't deep. Feeling is. And so this is very powerful. Right, let's get into all of these aspects. The sun made ingress into Virgo just about an hour ago, and yet we got the rest of the aspects as the week continues. So in about 24 hours less than that, we're going to have Venus at 8 degrees of Libra, and it's already making this grand air trine. It has been since it's made ingress into its home sign of Libra pretty much, but it makes the exact trine to Saturn retrograde, which is at 8 degrees of Aquarius tomorrow. And it's still making those trine to Rahu, the North Node in Gemini, as well as a sextile to Ketu, the South Node in Sagittarius. That was exact a couple of days ago. But the opportunity to open up to letting go is very big with our perception at this time, with our moral standards, which sets the scene in a big way. By the time we get to Mars's day, which is the 24th of August, we will have Mercury at 22 degrees of Virgo. We'll have an opposition to the moon and Neptune, which is retrograde in its home sign of Pisces. So we've got Mercury in its home sign, domicile sign of Virgo, opposing Neptune, which is in its home sign of Pisces. And so this is about recognizing the message which we are speaking to ourselves, or even that other people are saying to us. Again, if you've got your clairaudience plugged into your heart and soul, you can tell if people are speaking authentically or if there's distortion in what you're perceiving and what you're hearing. You can even hear it in yourself. Sometimes you hear if you're gaslighting or bullshitting yourself, don't you? I mean, I don't when I'm doing it to myself. Sometimes I'll speak to a waiter or a cafe, and because they're a little bit further disconnected than our nearest and dearest, we're able to be a bit more authentic about our feelings sometimes with someone who's a little bit further from our inner ring, and we're like, oh, that's actually how I feel about that situation. Interesting. The same can be said about the media, which is ruled by Virgo, and this is going to be very interesting with Mercury opposing Neptune. I mean, I'm not watching too much media right now, but there's a lot of distortion in the atmosphere. So it's good to get clear on whatever you are exposed to, even ourselves. The moon makes ingress into Aries as well on the 24th, making a quincunx to the sun. It is, again, Mars's day. And so the moon goes into Mars's sign. So there you go. Then on the 25th of August, which is Mercury's day, we still have that moon making its way through Aries, makes a conjunction with Chiron. Mars and Mercury starting to split apart. Mars is still making its transit through Virgo. But it will be by the 26th that the moon, still in Aries, makes a square to Pluto, retrograde in Capricorn. So that's a cardinal square, a break-free, transformational kind of square. And we also have a sextile from the moon to Jupiter, retrograde, 26 degrees of Aquarius. Interesting assertions on this day. It is actually Thor's day, Jupiter's day, but we've got a load of aspects from Venus, firstly at 12 degrees of Libra, making an opposition, 180-degree opposition to Chiron, retrograde in Aries. And so this is like recognizing our sensitivities, our vulnerabilities, and going to do it anyway. Like, I'm not going to allow anything to stop me, especially with this moon in Aries as well. It's very assertive. It's just going for it. It can cut ourselves free. It might feel painful, but it can be liberating and healing as well. What we'll be cutting ourselves free from is it the old belief systems, the old identifications, the old routines, the old actions. It's an adaptation to our story. We're dubbing over. We're re-recording. Why? Because we can. Because this is the recreational experience. We don't have to do things the old way. That's madness. Mad. No, we're able to change the record, baby, and get into a new groove. Mercury will also be at 24 degrees of the media sign of Virgo. Your body is the original media. How are you speaking to yourselves and anchoring a message of empowerment and love? Because the message that you report back is truly the greatest broadcast which you can receive. Mercury, 24 degrees of Virgo, makes a harmonic 120-degree trine to Pluto, which is retrograde in fellow Earth sign at 24 degrees of Capricorn. So it's a very powerful trine. We had Venus do that last week, and Mars will go on to do that, as we shall see in this broadcast. So, but Mercury's flying through Virgo, its home sign, and so we're going to see it do its little journey. It does make more aspects before it's finished, though. It will be the 27th, which is Venus's day, Friday. Actually, excuse me. Yeah, it is Friday, the 27th, this Friday. Mercury at 26 degrees now of Virgo, making a quincunx to Jupiter retrograde in Aquarius. And so this is like fathoming the different belief systems that we have about health, about media, about our communication, about all kinds of different things like that, where we put our faith and what we believe in. Are you putting faith into you, or are you externalizing that faith into something which is beyond you? We all do it, but it's a great time to really untether ourselves, untangle ourselves, and take our power back. 28th of August, Venus will be at 14 degrees of Libra, its home sign. And it will make a quincunx again, another quincunx, this time to Uranus in Venus's other sign in Taurus, which is freshly retrograde at 14 degrees. And so we're integrating our sense of value with our own talents, our voice, with our perspective. And so the moon is also in Taurus, exalted in a conjunction with Uranus at this time, while also coming off of a trine to the sun. And so it's very earthy energy that we've got going on at this time. But yet it's also intellectual. It's like, what do we do in a practical way with our intellectual observations, our witness point, our view? What does your view integrated into the activity that you're actually living? Or is it just something which you perceive, but you're doing something the other way, like walking backwards on the escalator? You know, we can do that only for so long, but we have to make a choice, and that choice is you and I choosing me, you choosing you, and me choosing me. That's not selfish. That's putting ourselves first. That's being a leader. That's being a warrior of love. When you choose to go and put healthy food on your plate, when you choose to walk away from unloving, depleting, heavy situations, you're choosing you. Sometimes it's painful to walk away from things that we might have previously enjoyed or thought were good for us. But you know what thought? Well, you don't want to think too much because it stinks. to feel into what's appropriate for you, and I'm sure you'll be honouring that which serves you. August the 29th, oh, excuse me, that's the 28th. August the 29th, we got the sun at 6 degrees of Virgo. And it's interesting because this is part of a saga which we've had many layers to, because the sun will square the nodes of the moon. First it was Venus, then Mercury and Mars. In fact, I think Mars did it before Mercury. Mercury's moving so fast, that's the case. And so now the last of these personal planets to square the nodes will be the sun. And this is always a evolutionary karmic step for the collective when we have anything square the nodes. And so just like we have this opportunity to let go of so many belief systems, it's through our creativity. It might be like, oh, I didn't ever perceive that I could live from my joy, from my heart's enthusiasm, from my natural gifts and talents. But do you know what? I did that thing that I love to do for 10,000 hours. I did it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I repeated that. I repeated it again and again for a couple of years. Do you know what? I did it so consistently that I am able to do my gifts, my talents, my trades with my eyes closed, like, because I know them like the back of my hand. You know, you ever seen someone who's like blind playing the piano, playing a guitar without looking at the words? It's because you become very accomplished at your skills and your talents. And so we can recognize that we're able to let go of an old belief and say, well, I'm able to live off my talents now, and I didn't perceive or ever think that I could, but now I've proved myself wrong, so that belief system doesn't have to exist. I don't have to drag it in anymore. Sun squaring Ketu, the south node, 6 degrees of Sagittarius, making a trine to Rahu, the north node, 6 degrees of Gemini, where the moon is also. And so we're able to feel a new perspective, we're able to cut free from an old belief, and we're able to put faith into the information of, yes, I am able to support myself with my heart's joy and creativity, because I've cultivated the ability to recognize that I can. And that's happened to me. True story. As an astrologer, for a long time, I didn't have enough money to live and pay the rent. As an astrologer, it's a bit like being a starving artist. I think actually it doesn't have to be just as an astrologer or a musician. It's whatever you choose to do. For a little while, it's a squeeze. If you're going after your heart's joy, if you're going after what brings you excitement, you're going to have to find that actually you have to go without for a little while. But if you stick at it, if you stay the course, if you create your own groove, by gosh, no doubt, no diggity, you can live off your joy. You are able to cultivate the opportunity to live off your own talents, because that's what's going to bring you fortune in your life. And you don't have to go and work for something external. We don't have to externalize our fortune, because it's all within you, baby. It's true. It's true. I've experienced it. I've gone and worked 9 till 5. I've gone and done jobs that didn't bring me joy, and that sends your vibration down. And when you get paid, you don't buy things that are going to lift you up. That was my experience. You actually have to be fully immersed within your joy and do that. And this is what this lunar cycle's been all about. This is what this year is all about. This is about disconnecting from things that don't serve us. This is the metaphysical benefits from the lockdowns, because it was saying, come in, disconnect from those 9 till 5s, disconnect from the Capricornian structures that don't serve you, and become a Capricornian self-serving structure, become a Saturnian support system, reinvent yourself, innovate who you are. Uranus, you've got to be a little bit Uranian and feel into Uranus and Taurus, but also take that Saturn in Aquarius and fix yourself up in a supportive way. That means that you are a powerhouse. So I intend that you're finding your ability to do that, because we are all able. The sun squaring of the nodes is this another layer in that story. And so by 30th of August, we shall have Mercury making ingress into Libra, where it will actually go retrograde. Mercury is going to go up to about 25 degrees of Libra, and then it will go retrograde, and so it's going to be there for an extended amount of time. I might even do a video on that later this week, so that we can really feel into the depth of that experience, because Mercury's retrograde in all the air signs this year. Last went retrograde in its home sign of Gemini, and earlier this year it went retrograde in Aquarius. And so it's a very intellectual kind of year for us. Mercury always going retrograde within one element. And so by August the 31st, the last day of August, we will have, here we go, excuse me, let me see if I can get this chart to move on one more day. There we go. Well, the Sun at 8 degrees of Virgo, making a quincunx to Saturn retrograde at 8 degrees of Aquarius, which is saying, how can I be old school but innovative? How can I be new but classic? How can I be kind of chaotic but supportive? This is the dynamic that we're looking at with regards to the Saturn-Uranus square. And they're kind of as far apart as they're going to be now at this stage, because the orb is about 6 degrees there, maybe even more towards a 9-degree orb. But they're going to come close as you like by December, and they're going to have that 90-degree square again, exactly, which is very much a pressure dynamic. And the pressure is, you can take care of yourself. You can self-organize with other people around you. We are all able to come into our community, networks, and spheres of influence and recognize ourselves as formidable powerhouses, resources of love. We've got the ability to self-organize. We don't need to be bossed around by governments or other outside patriarchal systems that have passed their sell-by date. I ain't buying into them, because I'm buying into me, and I encourage you to buy into you too, because you're worthy. No doubt about that. Mars, September the 2nd, 22 degrees of Virgo. While on the 1st of September, the moon goes through Cancer, its home sign, it will still be there by the 2nd. But just like Mercury shall oppose Neptune in the next coming days, Mars will do it exactly on the 2nd of September. This is checking in. Am I seeing clarity? Now the reign of illusion has gone, or am I still buying into confusion? Neptune is both the clarity as well as a complete illusion. Sometimes we need our illusions to shake ourselves free of some kind of old mystery, some old story which we might have clung on to keep us safe, but actually it's there as some kind of apprehension. It's not serving us. And so we gain benefits from our illusions. We can be grateful for them, actually. And it's our own identity and actions, our own self-activation, which is calling us to break free from them through this 180-degree opposition of Mars to Neptune retrograde in its home sign of Pisces on the 2nd of September. We also have the moon opposing Pluto and making a trine to Neptune. So it can be very illusory, even the stories in the world. What's your story? That's more important. What are you telling yourself? How are you speaking to yourself? Are you telling yourself in the morning, hey, I love you. I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for you feeding love into yourself. Do you know what? Actually, the greatest thing that we can do to become more magnetic, more magnanimous, to use our moments to create more momentum so that we can become the great attractor and draw in our vision, our heart's vision, into our experience. Well, that's speaking love to yourself, reminding yourself and anchoring that message of high voltage frequency into your body every single morning. It's a practice. Sometimes we don't feel like doing it. Sometimes we don't feel like doing it, but actually when we start, it becomes like a snowball effect, and you recognize that you're on your team. You build more momentum, and you are teeming full of love and abundance. It's only when we choose to negate that option that things start going against us. When we start going against the grain of our own momentum, and we start going into old habits. And sometimes it's worthy to recognize that, but when we're on our side, when we are feeding into the message of I can and I am able, then we empower ourselves beyond those limitations. And it will be by the 3rd, we have the moon going to Leo, and by the 3rd, and it will oppose Saturn, by the 3rd of September, we will have Mercury at 5 degrees of Libra, making that same trine to Rahu that Venus once did, while Venus, also in Libra, makes a sextile to Ketu, the South Node. Excuse me, it's not to Ketu, the South Node, it's making a sextile to, it's Mercury making a sextile to Ketu, the South Node. It's my scruffy, un-Virgo-like notes. I wrote these notes when the sun was still in Leo, you can tell that, because they're a mess. But Venus will make a quincunx to Neptune retrograde. And so we're integrating our perception, we're integrating our receptivity to different things that we have compassion to, different things that we may have illusions about, different things that we sympathize. We're looking to feel into our genius and see if actually it's for us. Sometimes intellect cuts us free of emotional debris as well, because air blows water. And so with Venus in the intellectual sign of Libra making a quincunx to Neptune, while Mars is opposite it, we're really going to be thinking and feeling into what's okay for us to feel compassion for. Sometimes you need to be a bit more abrupt and close the door on things that make you make decisions based on emotions when you know that they're not best for you. This means turn off the TV, doesn't it? It means sometimes we have to have better boundaries, because it's bad boundaries that allow us to make bad decisions. Like, you know, Neptune is very much like an alcohol. And so if you have a drink, you could make a decision that isn't maybe in your greatest empowerment. Likewise, if we are going into situations with bad boundaries in business or relationships, it might be that we don't make the best decisions that's for us. So it's an integration process with that quincunx from Venus to Neptune retrograde, the same time as we have Mercury in a ground air trine making aspects to the nodes. By the 4th of September, we have the Sun at 11 degrees of Virgo, and it makes a quincunx to Chiron retrograde at 11 degrees of Aries. Again, we're integrating our sense of self. We're integrating our day-to-day rituals and creativity, with the moon actually going into the dark lunar phase, making a square to Uranus. This is where the magic happens, when the moon's waned to the degree that it's at its final crescent, just about to become invisible, and goes into the same degree as where the lunar cycle began, that we're closing out. Just like really a great time to cut ties on things. Through the half of this next 2 weeks, through all of these aspects, it's saying please cut ties from things that are keeping you snowed up and stuck in the past. You don't need it. And obviously the moon makes the trine to the south node, as well as the impending square once it gets into Virgo as well. We'll see that. Mercury at 7 degrees of Libra makes the trine to Saturn retrograde at 7 degrees of Aquarius. So this is about being within our own integrity, with our communications and our perceptions, as well as cutting ourselves free from things that don't serve us again. And so it shall be that on the 5th of September, we will have Venus at 24 degrees of home sign Libra, making this square, cardinal square, to Pluto retrograde at 24 degrees of Capricorn. So this is very much, again, some things that can be making their decisions. Decisions can be made like, well, I'm just definitely not eating that. I'm definitely not going to watch that TV show. I'm definitely not going to have interactions with that type of energy. This is that kind of decision. It's cutting ourselves free. 90 degrees angle, Pluto retrograde. That thing ain't for us. It's a good boundary that we're asserting with regards to our perception. We're really making decisions at this point. And again, the moon is actually at the 29th, well, it's going through the end of Leo, about to make ingress into Virgo at this point here, as we move into the 6th of September, when we will have Mars. Well, firstly, the moon will make us, as it's waning, this is the very last day of this kind of report, but look at this, the moon will make the same square to the nodes while it's waning. So it's a lot of cut free. I mean, lots of things happen in the dark of the moon. It's a very astrological, magicians, warlocks, magic kind of thing. I mean, if you ever read The Picatrix, which is one of the greatest astrological magic books that there are, all of the great wizards, the priests, the high priest, the priestesses, the witches, they do their magic under the dark of the moon. And when you've got the moon in Virgo, this is when media are going to be doing their illusory magic tricks. But what are you going to use the magic for, eh? How are you going to cut yourself free from things that don't serve you? It can be a very beneficial time for doing your own rituals and routines also, because we're all magics. We've all got the ability to recognize that we're craftsmen and we're alchemists, and we're able to cut ourselves free from things that don't serve us. Mars, 24 degrees of Virgo, makes a trine to Pluto, which is where it shall be for the new moon. And so this trine to Pluto is very powerful. Even Pluto is like the deeper, inner, more powerful octave of Mars. They both rule Scorpio. And so 120-degree angle in the earth signs from Mars to Pluto is saying, hey, cut myself free, easy peasy does it. Or it could be the opposite of that. It's like, I'm going in. I've got to go and get this jab now because my family told me, the government's told me, my job told me, the education system told me. You don't have to do it. You are you. You've got a decision for yourself. You can choose to cut yourself free from situations like that. This is the kind of opportunity that is available to us. It's funny that we got Mars trine Pluto, Venus square Pluto at the same time as Mercury making the grand air trine with Rahu and Saturn, as well as making a sextile still to Ketu, the south node. We can also see that Venus is about to make a trine to, well, it's already making a trine to Jupiter, 25 degrees of Aquarius, right? This is all going on at the time of the dark lunar phase as we move into this lunar cycle. And so we move towards what will be the new moon at 14 degrees of Aquarius, and we see that actually we have then already got Venus moved onto that trine with Jupiter, Jupiter moving back to 24, Venus moving on to 25 degrees. And so there's a massive expansion of a certain perspective of liberation, revolution, or even conformation, a confirmation of those that are choosing to conform. It goes both ways. And this can be quite divisive, quite even frustrating, because some of our loved ones, some of our friends might choose one thing and we might choose another. And yet the conversation, it's a non-conversational point. It's not about trying to sway someone else at this point. The best way to lead and to sway is to create waves, man. And that's just to honor you and to lead. And this is very truthful, because the way that Virgo, the Hermeticist, is showing and revealing truth is by leading with the change that it wishes to be and see. The Hermeticist is lit from the inside out. And so this is very powerful. Mars goes on to make a quincunx to Jupiter as well. And so this is about integrating our sense of self with the belief systems of the community. And it's like, oh, there's so many different facets. There's so many different details. It's oh so interesting. And the new moon itself, which we will talk about in greater detail near at the time, does make a trine to Uranus. So it's a paradigm-shattering situation for us all. It's a very glued-in new moon in Virgo. And I'll be back to talk about that in about 2 weeks. Well, a little bit less, probably more like 12 days. And we'll pull cards for each of the 12 signs of the zodiac at that point. And so that's very exciting. And I'm excited to join you for that. But we can make the most of these energies over the course of the next 2 weeks. There's so much going on. I suggest that we just take it in our stride. We take it at our own pace. And that is a timeless pace. That's a meditational pace. That's a pace of being the gift and receiving our gifts, being present and finding that we're always open to the love that we're able to receive when we are taking our time and pacing ourselves. So I'm here to serve you. If you want a personal consultation, send us a connection, send us a message, make your purchase. All that you need to do, you can find out in the description of this video below. I'll be very excited to connect with you and arrange a mutually beneficial time to do so. And I'm excited for that. I'm going to read one more lovely bit of feedback which I got from a happy client. They said, Philip's natural cosmic wisdom is translated into his astrological consultation in a very practical and informative way. He is authentic, compassionate, and extremely intuitive. I admire his ability to perform the magic in such an old-fashioned yet playful way, making you feel expanded and a part of an alchemical process, an experience to be remembered. Philip is the healer, the friend, the artist, and the astrologer. A session with him was the best self-love gift that I was able to receive. Well, thank you so much, Crystal, for that lovely, lovely testimonial. I'm grateful for the feedback. I'm here to serve you. If you resonate with the energy that I'm able to provide, I'm here to serve you. Thank you for reaching out. Thank you for sharing connection. I see you all there in the live chat. Susie, Gemini, Virgil, Annie, and Bree Morwee, and Syria J. I'm grateful for each and every single one of you. I'm just going to pull a few tarot cards as we close this video out. So thanks for sticking around. It was worth it, wasn't it? Just intending that you received the value of the message. I'm grateful for each and every single one of you. If you're watching it in a recorded video, I'm grateful for you. Thanks for sharing with a friend. Thanks for telling a friend. And thanks for thumbsing yourself up as well as this video too. I'm grateful for the support. We're a tribe. We, as supporters, can lift ourselves up and one another. Do you know how beneficial that is? Do you know how Aquarian and Uranian it is? We are so grateful for those of us that actually find that the only competition is ourselves. We lift ourselves up and one another, and that's how we thrive. So firstly, let's talk about those fire signs. We're going to do the elements, and that is for Aries. This is for Leo. And this is for Sagittarius. We're going to pull whatever card comes up for you with regards to this waning lunar cycle. The next 2 weeks. Wow, fire signs. Goodness gracious. We only had 3 cards fly out, and well as what a bottom of the pack is. Sometimes the negativity can be a gift, because negativity is subtraction. Negativity is alleviation. The next 2 weeks is about the negative. The next 2 weeks is about the polarity that takes away. Oh, isn't it soothing when things take things away? Take away the pain. Take away the old stories. Take away the old belief systems. Take away the old emotions. Well, the only way for us to feel into that is to recognize our emotions. And that is how we subtract anything that holds us back. So this is a brand new beginning in our self-worth for the fire signs, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. We got an Ace of Pentacles, as well as the 7 of Wands. So this is about having a new view on yourself, a new valuable view on who you are, your frequency, sound, vibration being. And it's about cultivating it within your creativity and your day-to-day rituals and routines. Yeah, the sun just made ingress into Virgo. We got the Ace of Pentacles. We got the 7 of Wands. And we got the sun for our fire signs. Oh my gosh. Can you feel it? Well, I'm glad that you do, because this is an inspirational message for you. We got the Page of Wands too. This is about you speaking into your identification, the value of you being a invigorating fire starter, a cultivated creator. You are the source. So make yourself recognized and know that you are worthy of no less than being recognized and receiving a reception for who you are. This is beautiful. Ace of Pentacles, the 7 of Wands, the Sun, and the Page of Wands. Speak into you the worthiness of who you are, fire signs. Very nice indeed. I appreciate you, Ms. Elizabeth. I appreciate you, Sharon Q. Thank you, AD. I'm grateful for each and every single one of you. And happy solar return to Moonrock and Astro Doos, AD, are you? I'm grateful for each one of you. Robin Evans, I'm grateful for you as well. You're all a bunch of flipping stars, didn't you know that? We are star beings. They call us human, which is human. Hue is light. Man, well, that's just this kind of contraption suit. We're light beings. We feel heaviness because that's the only way to create change. We doctor change by feeling into our old stories and alleviating ourselves. Doctors are healers, right? Which doctors are healers, though? Us. The witch doctors of time. That's who we are. We are creative beings that gain ourselves the opportunity to alleviate ourselves and cut ourselves free from old matriarchal systems, from old feelings that we hold in our body. And this is what the waning half of the lunar cycle is best for. So next we'll talk about our earth signs, which is Taurus. And Virgo, happy solar return to you, Virgo. And Capricorn, all the best to you guys. The card which we got for you, well, there's only one card. I'm not playing favourites, it's just an omen. It's only one card. We do bottom of the pack as well, so you will get two. It's Temperance, man. For you earth signs, Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn, it's about feeling and being the alchemical processor of your feelings. They are a guidance system, whether you want to go this way or that way. Does it feel appropriate for you, or doesn't it? Well, you are the chemistry set. You are the laboratory. Are you feeling more Libra or Aries? Do you know that Libra and Aries, you put them together, it says laboratory? Because we are that. We are the source. The zodiac is the body, the zoo of archetypes within us. So earth signs, you've got the ability to feel into what's for you and what ain't for you. And it's your decision making, which is based on those feelings, which is the alchemy which you can do. We also got the Five of Wands. Very creative, very enthusiastic, very heartfelt. It's about cultivating your opportunity to see yourself as a creator being. Because this is, for Taurus, you just had the sun ingress into your fifth house of Virgo. Virgo, you just have the sun ingress into your first house, whereas Capricorn, it's in your ninth house. So this is really feeling into your belief systems, your creativity, your sense of self. And we're still within a Leo lunar cycle. The whole point of this is about how do we package our heart's joy and pursue it and not let anything get in our way. Where your feelings will be your guide and your enthusiasm, well, that will carry you. Earth signs, Temperance, and the Five of Wands. I'm grateful for you. Sobian, or Siobhan, excuse me if I butcher your name. I love you. I'm grateful for you. Next, we got air signs. Gemini. Oh, yes. Libra and Aquarius, where we just had the full moon. And so this is very powerful, intending that you're finding yourself within gracious moments, each one of you every people. Woo! And what card we got for you is the Page of Cups. The Page is a mercurial energy, and it's about communicating our emotions. It's a watery energy. It's the Page of Hearts. And so this Page of Cups is open to communicating its feelings. It's open to maybe writing about its feelings, perceiving what is the undercurrents within us. That's truly brave. It takes guts to feel. But yet your brain is in your guts, don't you know? Yeah, there's a brain down here. And so it is very organic for us to go into our feelings and to base our decisions off of them. I mean, is this person for me, or does it feel that they're not for me? Does this job feel like it's really serving me, or should I just go and invest in myself? This is a great guidance system. And, you know, this is the great opportunity for us to cut ourselves free from outside external situations which are depleting us. They're a drag, man. But we wake up and we feel that we have to go into them. We drag them on in. And that's really just a cycle which we were able to break the chain of. We ain't slaves. And so we break the chain by feeling and communicating to ourselves how we feel about situations. And we're like, hey, I'm going to empower myself by setting a better standard, by setting a better scene. In fact, your standards, they set the scene. So when you say, I'm going to work for myself until I can earn myself the respect, so I can earn a reputation, so I can earn the credibility, to know that I don't have to go work for the supermarket or whatever is making me feel very much like this, and recognize that I am the boss. I am the liberation. I am the choice which I was seeking. Page of Cups and the Devil card, because you are empowered and you don't have to go cap in hand to somebody outside of you. That is for the air signs. Gemini, Libra, my moon's in Libra, my ascendant's Libra, and Aquarius. So I'll be taking note of that. And sometimes it's not about the boss, sometimes it's not about the job, sometimes it's about we think that we need something from some other thing outside of us. You know, maybe it's like, it could be a dietary complaint, it could be a relation situation, it could be our parents, could be a sibling, could be a whole myriad of different things. I'm sure you can relate it to what fits for you. Holly, MacMahon, I'm grateful for you. If you say you'd love to get knowledge from me, well, there's an hour of knowledge here. I mean, with regards to the current transits. But if you would like a reflection on your natal chart, you know, I am here to serve you. It's what I do best. I've been doing it for almost 12 years now, and I'm very excited. It's my Jupiter return. When I had Jupiter return last time is when I started pursuing astrology as my craft. But my Jupiter returns next year in the spring, and that's a 12 years cycle of me being immersed within astrology. And so I absolutely love it. You can actually live your dreams in a 12-year Jupiter cycle. You can become very accomplished. I didn't know that I was going to be an astrologer when I started immersing myself on it on my Jupiter return. How old are you guys? I mean, if you're 24, you're having your second Jupiter return. If you're 36, you may be having your third Jupiter return. That's me. I'll be 36 next year. I'm not 36 next year. I'm 35. But it will be moving towards my 36th year. I'm 34 now. Wish your life away. We're not an age. We're not a number. We're the source. So thank you for sourcing in. Because, you know, again, these banking commercial terms, they tell us so much. Because when we go to a government, health organisation, when we go to work for someone 9 till 5, that is a job that makes us feel broke, makes us feel hard done by. That ain't no way to make a living, Dolly. I ain't no doll. I am the boss, and so should you be. We can work for ourselves, and that is the greatest sense of empowerment, because when we go and do those other things, when we pull on those other systems, we're leaning and we're pulling on other systems. We're not standing upright as an individual, as an identified spirit, empowered to ourselves. We're outsourcing. But you're the source. We are the source. Yes, we are. Yes, we are empowered. Yes, you are a creative resource. It's all within. Outside, it's all very well going and sharing our sphere of influence, squaring it up, trading and exchanging like what we're doing out here. But this is within our own empowerment. We're not outsourcing. We're not externalizing in a patriarchal way, because, you know, that paradigm, it flipped. We had a pole shift. We're not in a patriarchal system anymore. If you buy into one, it's kind of outdated, and it's not going to serve the fulfillment of your heart's joy. And this is really what we're recognizing so much. I mean, probably won't be taking it to this kind of degree with drilling it home next month, because we're going to be within a Virgo lunar cycle. But Leo is about really going after nothing less than your heart's happiness and not settling for anything. Have you ever seen a Leo settle for second? We have all got Leo. We have all got the sun. We've all got a fifth house. None of us deserve to settle for second. Water signs: Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. Mystery schooler, I appreciate you. Water signs. Woo! The card which we got for you guys is the Seven of Cups. Discernment is a key frequency, and you and I, we've got all the keys. Christ is the janitor, the gardener, and what does Christ walk around with? Well, a set of keys on the belt, because on your navel, you've got the ability to recognize you've got all of the chakras, and each of them are a key frequency. Each of them represent one of the planets. It's the whole range of creation. And so your discernment is a key frequency, and it's your emotions which are your greatest guide to your perception beyond the lights of illusion. How does it feel? You know that, you know that, water signs. It's your expertise. So just be you. You're beautiful. Your emotions are beautiful, and they won't steer you wrong. And so that's the Seven of Cups. And also we got 7 swords. I mean, 7 wands. Your identification is in your emotional guidance system. Your identification actions can be deployed on your discernment. Your frequency can activate who you are, because you are worthy of no less than your own self-rewarding, self-loving, self-valuing love. Water sign: 7 cups, 7 wands. You are appreciated. I'm grateful for you. Each and every single one of you. Jeremy Coate, I'm grateful for you, sunshine. And Chanel Williams, I'm grateful for you. Waking Gaia Oracle Messages, I'm grateful for you. You are deeply appreciated. Jeremy said he had the pleasure of knowing this guy for a few years. Well, Jeremy came for a reading with me a couple of times, and he wasn't necessarily interested in astrology when he met me, but now takes a great interest in his astrology transits. And so I was very pleased to be able to work with Jeremy and a number of these people, like Elizabeth Inman in the live chat. Thank you each for your presence. I'm grateful for all of you. If I've never interacted with you, I'm still grateful for you. Thank you for being who you are. And thank you for honouring yourself. You're a flipping star. And what do I mean by that? I mean, you're the light, the pinprick of who you are, the identification, the awareness, the person who's got an identity, who makes their own imprint into society, that creates their own groove. You are that, but you're a flipping star because you're the backdrop as well. You're the source, you're the night sky. You're not just the bright spark. You are everything. Did you know that actually a star has already gone bang? It's already gone bang. It is actually that a star has already exploded before we've seen it with our naked eye. And so this means that it is the whole backdrop, the whole night sky, just like the phone, right? We are the pixel, but we're the whole screen as well. So thank you for knowing yourself. Thank you for sourcing. Thank you for not having to outsource, because you are exactly where you are meant to be at. Thank you for choosing you. Thank you for being who you are. Thank you for receiving the love directly at your core. You're worthy of no less. I will catch you on the flip side. Cheerio for now. Have a fantastic waning half of this lunar cycle. You are deeply and dearly appreciated.